What's up, nerds? I'm Kandruk, your not-so-friendly neighborhood otaku, and welcome to my channel where I talk all things anime, manga, manhwa, webcomics, and cosplay. If that's the type of thing you're into, then make sure to subscribe because I'm putting one video out every week of anime commentary. Today, we're going to be watching and reacting to episode 8 of Gachiakuta. As always, if you haven't seen episode 8 of Gachiakuta and you don't want to be spoiled, pause this video, go back and watch the episode, and then come here to hear my commentary. Because obviously, as I'm watching and reacting to the episode, there will be spoilers that shouldn't be something new to you. I absolutely love this series, and I love how they are adapting it. I am a manga reader for it, though I forgot what happened in the first couple of volumes. I read them a year ago. I don't remember all of these small details. So seeing it animated, one, just refreshes it in my mind, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember this, and two, I get to experience it again for a second time. And if you're an anime only, the experience I'm having is great, so I hope it's also great for you. But without any further ado, let's get into episode 8. Poor Rudo has gone through so much in so few years of life. But I like how Engine is kind of recentering this for him by noting that Grease is an adult who chose to work as a cleaner, fully knowing that he's putting his life on the line. But he didn't save Rudo just because he's a spherite and they need to protect him because there's like no other spherites on the ground that we've seen so far. But he saved him because that's what he would do for anyone else in Rudo's position. And even though he's not a giver, he still has that push to use whatever strengths he has at his disposal to protect others. Him getting hurt is in no way Rudo's fault, and Rudo shouldn't be beating himself up for it. Because frankly, he still would have gotten hurt if literally anyone else was in Rudo's position and needed protecting. That's just the type of person Grease is, and it's also literally his job as a cleaner and as an adult. Oh my god, I love Rudo's face. He thought Grease died, yet he's over here like, good job, buddy, you did it. They really set him up for that. I don't know how many times I can say, and that's why I love this power system, but again, this is why I love the power system. Since anima can be activated through any object that a giver treasures, there are endless possibilities of what happens when that object is activated. Some vital instruments become weapons like Engine's umbrella, Zanka's staff, and Ryo's scissors, whereas other vital instruments become tools like Semiu's glasses and Eshia's healing powers. Okay, so this does kind of confirm that literally anyone can become a giver. It's not reliant on some innate ability, but something that anyone can work towards, meaning that there's a future where people who aren't currently givers can become givers, regardless of their age, since it's truly about treasuring and cultivating the anima that turns an object into a vital instrument. I wonder if that means you can lose the ability if you stop treasuring and caring for your vital instrument. That would be really interesting to see. Just a theory, no idea. I have only read up to volume 6 or 7, so I have not seen that yet, but I would love to see if you can lose your ability as a giver. It's so weird to think of how the sphere and ground are situated because the sphere exists almost in the sky of the ground, yet there's an edge or a border where they can cross. That's how Rudo fell from the pit and didn't just end up in an actual pit on the sphere, but in the area of the ground that the spherites have been polluting with garbage. Which means there's an edge of the world, in a sense, in the sphere. Don't get me wrong, the world building in this series is great, and we'll see more of the ground as Rudo and the cleaners venture out and essentially uncover these areas that are already mapped, but we haven't seen. I just need someone to draw the sphere ground layout because that is the one thing that my brain is not immediately able to picture. I mean, the atmosphere of the two worlds is the same because Rudo only needs to wear a gas mask when he's in the polluted zones. He can breathe perfectly fine and gravity affects him just like usual everywhere else on the ground. And since the atmosphere is the same, they can't really exist on top of or inside of one another. It can't be like the ground is the core of the sphere. To me, it feels almost like they are overlapping worlds existing in the same space. But there's areas like the border or the pit where they overlap, that separation isn't defined, and it's a more liminal space between the worlds where you can cross over. Okay, so we're confirming Rudo is not the only person who survived the fall from the pit. Other spherites have made it to the ground alive. Now, they could have all been taken like Rudo almost was and sold off piece by piece, but there's also a possibility that they just fully integrated into the ground society. And until it's confirmed, I personally am still gonna question if Rudo's bio dad survived the fall. Because if we do, is Rudo gonna have to face the man who killed people and scarred and abandoned him as a baby? Personally, I'm leaning towards yes, because that's a classic storyline, but I think it's equally as interesting for him to have fallen, not survived, and still had this big impact that Rudo is gonna uncover on the ground. I I love how Follow is just hanging on Rudo trying to stop him. When Rudo is impulsive and stubborn like this, you really get to see him act like the kid that he is. Even though he had to grow up and mature so quickly because of his bio dad and just his general living situation in the slums, he still acts childish at times, and I personally love to see it. Like now, how he immediately wants to run off to no man's land even though he has no information on, oh, I don't know, how to get there, any dangers they may encounter on the way, who is this woman that lives in no man's land, is she good or bad, or literally any other information. Also, he's only successfully activated his powers on command once, and he wants to run off and talk to a woman who lives in an area known as no man's land? Boy needs to hold his horses. Calm down. Also, how about training first? Let's work on getting those powers under control. Rio is such like a shit starter older sister. She sees Rudo has never eaten sweets and looked a bit down or jealous of it, and immediately is like, we have some of those. I mean, come on, the look in her eye, the smirk. Girly is probably hoping he can't control himself and eats himself sick. She is 100% here for the fun of it and the mild self-torture of a little brother figure. Oh, look at his face. He's so cute. I also love how he's just like staring over them in awe, like, oh my God, what are these? Yeah, we gotta remember, we've seen Rudo eat literal garbage before. We've seen him deglove and chew on the skin of a man. Now, I'm sure he ate normal food on the sphere, but it was still probably something closer to rations or the unseasoned food you see during times of war, rather than like lavish, flavorful foods. So just imagine what this very first bite of a fresh baked pastry must taste like to him. Boy's taste buds have just been shot into overdrive, and there is no stopping him. He is gonna eat all of those sweets. Zanka's so smart, and I'm not just saying that because he's my favorite. They know Rudo can activate other objects, but Zanka realized it had to be something considered garbage or broken or thrown out too early, basically anything that hasn't reached its full potential. So if you were to hand Rudo a masterfully crafted sword, literally nothing would happen because it's already at its peak. He needs objects that are unfulfilled in order to activate them through his vital instrument, which is why Zanka wants him to grab items from a pile of trash or things that have been discarded so he could test out this theory. I love this power system. Again, I'm gonna say it like every episode because it's just that good. It essentially prevents dumb power scaling since it's reliant on the trifecta of vital instrument care and quality, giver experience and skill, and the headspace the giver is in. This allows for a lot of possible growth since there's multiple areas that you could be training and improving on. But it also prevents someone from having the upper hand for literally no reason. What did I just say last episode? The object can be used through Rudo's vital instrument only if it hasn't reached its full potential and it is unfulfilled. Since the talisman protected them and Jabber, at that time, was knocked out, it protected them so that they could make it home safely, which is what Grease prayed to it for. That is why it disappeared last episode, because its purpose was fulfilled, not because of some time limit or Rudo's powers running out. And that was episode 8 of Gachiakuta. I really don't like how the boss of Raiders said Rudo. Also, his eyes kind of remind me of Regeto's. Since Regeto gave Rudo's the glove, which are from this Watchmen series, it looks like the boss of the Raiders also has a vital instrument from. There's gotta be a connection there. Regeto either knows the series or knows the boss of the Raiders. Again though, these episodes are just being animated so well. If you are enjoying this, I highly recommend checking out the manga because the anime is doing it justice. So if you like this, you are 100% gonna like the manga too. If anything, the manga is just a little bit more grimy and gritty than the anime is, but I think the anime does bring that to light in certain scenes when it switches to just black and white or is more stripped of like color and the saturation of color. I also really like how we are uncovering all of these details about what these powers are, who the people in this world are, and what this world is without just like a shit ton of exposition. They are showing rather than telling, and I think that's such a better way to give us this information. Super excited for episode 9 because now that we're figuring out Rudo's powers, we're probably gonna go talk to the woman of no man's land and see what the fuck is going on with the border and the pit and this liminal space between the worlds. But that is all for today, folks, and I will see you next time.